Charlie Dimmock,
Boys!
the Rich Brothers, and the Garden Rescue team have a treat in store.
Too much entertainment.
They have come to the rescue of hundreds of British gardens. Now it's time to look back and pick their favourites.
This looks really cool.
Fabulous.
As they celebrate the very best.
I don't like it. Huh? I love it.
From extraordinary eco-gardens
Thank you so much.
to exotic designs.
Oh my gosh, no way.
Gardens inspired by people
Is this the garden that you dreamed of?
It is.
Absolutely.
Well, I think that's a thumbs up.
and places.
It's the most beautiful garden I've ever been in.
Therapeutic spaces
Wow.
and the most extraordinary transformations.
It is perfect. Welcome to Garden Rescue.
Top of the plots. What's on the agenda today, then?
I mean, don't pretend you don't know what's going on today. Of course, it's mine and Dave's top picks, our favourite gardens that we've ever created on Garden Rescue.
OK.
So it's going to be a fun programme.
Oh, absolutely. It was quite a tricky task, actually, because you think between us, we've created over 100 gardens.
It's a lot of gardens.
Quite amazing. Of course, all of them special and unique.
Yeah.
So go on, how did you choose? Because I found it very difficult to choose my favourite gardens.
It was quite tricky, wasn't it? But we just looked for ones that had nice character, nice atmosphere, refined lines, multi-stem trees, natural planting, that kind of stuff.
All those old chestnuts.
But
Absolutely.
we've actually chosen some of our favourite gardens that you've created as well, of course.
Oh, you sweet little Welsh lambs.
We're proud of all our transformations. But our first Rich Brothers' favourite garden rescue is for Manchester pair Lauren and Trevor, who became neighbours 2 years ago and since then have become a couple.
So we thought by sharing the gardens, it would just maximise the space and just give us plenty of room, really.
The couple wanted clean lines and striking planting.
So this is our design.
And the Rich Brothers plan featuring Scandinavian influences and birch trees ticked all their boxes.
So as you travel through this more kind of intimate area, we really wanted you to kind of open up onto this kind of large, expansive deck. And that kind of connects the two gardens and makes this space one. So we've got a nice little kind of private seating area with a fire bowl, so you can sit back in the evenings, and you've got these really cool kind of single-stem trees kind of shooting out the deck, which will make it feel kind of part of the garden.
But with the garage taking up one garden and the other laid with paving, Bowen and the landscaping crew have a mammoth clearing out task before the build can begin.
The decking is flying out over here, and we've got a big tree going through the decking, so we just need to take out a lump of the old garage base to make space. We've got something good to plant into.
With the space stripped back, work can start on the decking.
How much higher do you think we're going to be off ground level over here, Lee?
I haven't got a clue, mate.
2 steps? Couple of steps?
Yeah, a couple of steps.
For the decking, and for the shelter, and for the benches, we're using larch. A larch is a perfect choice, as it's actually quite cost-effective, but because of the natural resins and actually some of the qualities in the wood, it's really resistant, and it means you don't have to take care of it and maintain it too much.
Pressure-treated pine, cedar, or even recycled plastic composite boards can be used for decking. The boys' choice of larch will give the couple the clean Scandinavian style they're looking for. And the brothers are bringing the same feel to the pathways.
For the walkway into the garden, we're using these concrete lintels. Now, concrete lintels you usually find supporting the tops of doors and windows in your home, but we're going to use them on the ground as paving. Now, it'll cost you about £20 each, or roughly about that, which in the terms of paving is probably quite expensive, but it really ties in with that modern linear shape and definitely picked up on that Scandi style that they wanted in their garden, so these guys are perfect.
The boys wanted to put a fire bowl in the middle of the wooden decking area, and Charlie's come up with a way to ensure it doesn't become a fire hazard.
Trevor and Lauren were really keen to get some fire in the garden. They originally asked for a fire pit, but the boys have decided to go with this, which is a fire bowl. It's got that very simple design to it. It's going to go on the deck, but what we've done is taken the deck section out, put down some chunky gravel, and then on top of that, we're putting some fine gravel, so there is no chance of the deck catching on fire. This was £90 off the internet, comes as a kit form. I did tease the boys and said I'll clean it up for them because it's all rusty. They had a slight meltdown at that point, but no, they've gone for the rusty look. Drain holes in there, so it drains, but also it lets air in so that the fire starts nice and easily. All I've got to do is screw it together.
Before the decking can progress any further, the designers need to position the birch trees. And given their height, they're going to need a little help to stay upright.
So when you're planting big shrubs and big trees, you sometimes think, oh, I'm going to enrich the soil so they really grow well. Sometimes by doing that, if you make the soil too rich, the roots don't actually start looking for the food. So it's better just to put a little bit in, and then the roots will slowly work their way into the soil that's already there. So these are very straightforward, basic tree tie. There's a packer here so that the trunk doesn't rub against the stake. What you've got to remember is you're tying the tree to the stake and not the stake to the tree. And always leave a little bit extra so that you can slacken it off as the tree grows.
Meanwhile, Harry's planting the rest of the birch trees within the perimeter of the deck itself.
This is a really large expanse of deck, so what we wanted to create here was a little bit more of a kind of intimate character. So by placing the trees within the deck, you're actually breaking it up as a whole expanse. And, you know, it creates a lot more emphasis on these birch trees because they stand quite, like, isolated on their own. So, you know, not only does it create a little bit of height and splits the deck up, but it also gives this lovely canopy that's just going to dapple when the sun's out and create a really cosy place to sit and relax.
As well as the trees, the brothers have added a boulder to break up the clean lines of the decking, and Lee's hit on a crafty way to get them to fit together.
God, so it was not designed to have the boulder in the deck, but I've spotted that you've got a dreamy line all the way around. How have you cut it?
Basically, what I'm doing is using an old offcut of decking.
Yeah.
Cut it roughly to shape. Then all I'm using around this boulder, because we don't want too big a gap.
Yeah.
Just a finger width. Put it up to it. Top the finger with the pencil on. Follow the contour of the stone.
Nice.
Like so.
I mean, it's so worth it. I mean, the boulder alone in the deck looks cool, but then just finishing off, a little bit of quality, a little bit of care makes a massive difference.
Yeah, yeah, it looks good.
With the boulder and the other finishing touches slotting into place, the garden makeover is complete. And a space that was once a mass of concrete and paving has been transformed into a garden of clean lines and beautiful forms.
In 3, 2, 1, have a look.
Oh my,
Wow.
it's amazing. That is unbelievable.
Flipping heck. Yeah. It is. It's so different. It looks incredible. It's so beautiful.
I really loved that garden. It really brought together those star-crossed lovers. And the garden itself was quite modern in its appearance. It had those linear lintels running through, planted up either side. It also had the birch trees. It had a very modern look. A great plant to emphasise that are grasses. And grasses are extremely versatile. They can give you structure, they can give you airiness, they can connect your planting schemes together. But one of the best things about them is that when the perennials actually die off late in the season, the grasses really come to life and really hold together the planting schemes. And I'm planting Festuca glauca, intense blue. And as the name says, it's got a lovely blue tinge to it. Now this grass is great at the fronts of borders and it works really well in a gravel garden. It likes a nice sunny position and it doesn't like to be in wet ground. Speaking of creating a sleek, modern look, Charlie did that exact thing for Rachel, Lindsay and Missy May in Ellesmere Port.
The Rich brothers' next top of the plot's favourite garden
Who put that down? You.
is a Charlie-winning design which transformed a dull space
I don't think the garden shows any sides of our personality at all, does it?
Nothing.
No.
into a fun Zingy garden with a pop art-inspired mural.
And I thought it'd be really fun on this side to have a bit of mad bit painting on there.
Oh, that's cool.
But before Charlie's pop art vision can take shape, the landscapers work their socks off to create the wooden wall for the mural.
Nice level, boss. Lovely job.
Putting up an L-shaped screen made from softwood boards. Charlie's given the boys the job of painting the mural on the newly erected screen.
It's all about being bold, like quite conceptual shapes.
Yeah.
Something that's really lively. So I think just like big blocks of colour.
Harry begins by drawing out a circle for the central feature of the design, a large chalkboard. Rachel and Lindsay love to entertain, so Charlie's designed a barbecue station at the front of the garden and asked Ben to build it.
So you managed to put it together.
Yes.
I always worry about kit barbecues and things like that, but that was a nice, simple, easy one. But I want it built into a table, yeah? Not like, I don't want the barbecue just there on a bit of gravel.
Okay.
But they're not so tall that when they look out the kitchen window, you see barbecue. So
Yeah.
it's got to be about this high. And then maybe have a stone surface, or, yeah?
We've got a perfect slab for it.
OK. So you're all right with this?
I'm on it.
With their design now marked out, Harry and David can start painting the mural.
The only difficulty, I'll say, is when it goes over a board. That really throws you because it pushes the brush out. I've learned from experience. Time-consuming work, but we've made a start, and it's starting to look better than it was, which is great. Now, we're going for a razzle-dazzle effect on this back wall, which is going to look fantastic. But the actual origins of this comes from World War I. So, a thing called a dazzle ship. Now, what they did, they actually painted the ships with lots of funky patterns like this. So if a submarine's periscope popped up, instead of just seeing a normal ship, it would actually be quite confused by the distorted shape of all these patterns. So a very cool concept, and great to be able to translate that into a garden.
At the front of the garden, Gruff's giving Ben a hand to build the barbecue station. The barbecue unit costs just £25, but it's being glammed up.
That's bang on there, look. 175 up to the top of the slab.
Encased in a wooden framework that matches the raised beds. When finished, Ben is using the leftover sandstone tiles from the patio to make a sturdy countertop.
Nice.
The whole team is getting creative in the garden. Harry and David's mural is coming along nicely, and Charlie's making a clock for Missy May's new play area.
Rather than putting numbers on, I thought it'd be a bit of fun to have it based on the sort of nursery rhyme. 1, 2, buckle my shoe. 3, 4, knock on the door. 5, 6, a pile of sticks. 7, 8, lay them straight. 9, 10, a big fat hen.
Charlie fixes the knickknacks to make up the clock face. And then one final piece of the puzzle.
So I'm just putting the clock face together. So it's just going to be hands that sort of dial round. So you can buy these clock fittings or the mechanism for about £10, £11. So we've gone for the big one now. I've got to make sure that I put the big hand and the little hand in the right order, because otherwise it'll tell the wrong time.
And on the other wall of the play area, the Rich Brothers mural is coming on a treat.
It's taken a lot of time. There's a lot of detail gone into this, and a lot of love. but we've got a few more to do, and it's complete. Actually had a lot of fun. Brain's slightly fried from concentrating, but I think Charlie will be very happy.
It's all systems go to get the rest of the garden ready for the family.
Yes!
And with the eye-catching mural finished, Harry and David make an integrated bench and shelf for the play area.
Yeah, you got that, mate. Hold that in true now.
As the final touches fall into place, a space that was dull and lifeless is transformed into one that fizzes with character. But what do Missy May and her parents make of it?
Do you want to open your eyes?
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Wow. Amazing.
That is fabulous. I love it.
I really like it.
You really like it?
Yeah. Happy gardening.
Happy gardening. So that's your blackboard.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
Fab. I love it.
I like the colours.
We love the garden. We absolutely love it.
Amazing. Just everything.
Magical.
It was more than what we expected. Everything about it, there's nothing we don't like.
It's magical.
That garden was such fun. It made me really smile and feel happy. And something that makes me smile as well are these almost Toy Town lollipop bay trees. So bays are great for adding height, structure and evergreen shape to the garden, especially small gardens. And another small garden that was tackled was for Karen and Duncan in Shefford.
Karen and Duncan recently downsized, and this rich brother's favourite top of the plots transformed their tiny garden.
At the moment, we come out the door, sit at the top on the decking that we don't like, and you look down and think, well, it's boring, there's nothing to look at.
The couple wanted a wildlife-friendly garden that maximised on their limited space.
We have no birds here, and I think that's something I'm really, really missing from where I used to live. There were so many birds. Entertain more, just relax. We don't sit out here enough, and I'd like to sit out here longer.
Designed to make the garden look bigger, the brothers' curved patio bordered by yew hedging won the couple over.
It's a lovely kind of York stone, a really beautiful material. This garden, although it's small, we've tried to be clever with what we've put in. So you're going to get blossom, you're going to get berries, you're going to get autumn colour. It's going to try and pack as much kind of seasonal change into this space as possible.
Who said chivalry's dead, eh?
Before the space-expanding patio can be installed, the landscaping team have to clear the old decking, dig up the turf, and lay a layer of aggregate before taking delivery of the new paving slabs.
So this is all reclaimed York stone. You see it a lot in cathedrals and those sort of spaces.
It's nice. It's lovely stuff.
Random.
Yeah, it is, but it always looks so good when it goes down.
With each slab being a different size and thickness, getting the paving right is an art form.
That's it.
Whoa! Hey, what are those?
Jigsaw sorted.
Looks great. Very nice. Nice, isn't it?
When the Rich brothers arrive with Arit, their first job is to map out the curved lines on the paving that'll add interest and breadth to the space.
That feels good, doesn't it?
Right there.
Yeah, that feels nice as a curve, doesn't it?
Yeah,
that's lovely. Well, that's the end of it there anyway, mate.
Once they're happy with the shape, the brothers use a circular saw to cut it out.
Oh, you can really start to see the curve now. And obviously, once we've removed this base here, place it with a nice trench of soil, and the hedging's going to run around here, soften the slabbing. It's going to look fantastic.
Good job, Dave.
At the front, Arit's gathering some ingredients to help her bring birds into the garden.
I've just taken a little bit of time out to come and make a bird feeder, which I think will be perfect for Karen and Duncan. All you need is a cooking bunt, any foods that the birds are going to love, peanuts, seeds, berries, and gelatin is going to set the whole lot of it. With gelatin, always have the hot water first, because effectively I'm going to be making a layer cake. Hot water, take your gelatin, sprinkle that in. I've got my ready-made stirrer. Pour that first layer in. And then, from there, I'm going to do seeds, first of all. I'm going to do a few berries as well. So we've got blueberries here. And I may even put in a little bit of hay. It's a really nice touch. And keep going, really.
With a paving cut to shape, the brothers are digging a trench for the yew hedging.
When you're putting in a long stretch of hedging like this, we always think that the best thing to do is actually dig a trench, put them all in, and then infill around the root balls. And therefore, you're not fiddling around trying to do individual holes. You should be quicker in the long run. Oh, there's a stone there.
This looks good enough to eat. So I've used 6 sachets on this. I really want this to set very, very solid because I'm gonna hang it up. That's the last of the gelatin going in. And there it is done.
Arit's going to pop the bird cake into the fridge to set for a couple of hours.
I feel like a proud mother penguin modelling in my child.
It's like a mini Christmas tree.
Oh, lovely. Isn't that fantastic? Imagine that all full up now.
You's looking sexy.
Thank you.
And the rest of the team lend a hand to the mother penguin getting the remaining yews in.
Oh.
The yews will be planted in 3 sections to form fragments of a sweeping line through the garden, drawing the eye down the space.
Look at these now. Instantly transform the garden. It creates a nice rhythm in the garden, but really breaks it up, doesn't it?
Also keen to make the very most of the very limited space available, Arit and Danny are constructing a raised veg planter to go at the back of the garden.
So the lovely thing about this is we've been able to use a green oak, and down at the mill, they've sawn them for us, put them into planks. Actually, they only work out a couple of pounds more than if we'd have used old reclaimed scaffolding boards. But green oak is lovely, and it's going to weather down really, really nicely, giving it that kind of very natural feel. So, Dan, should we get on?
Yeah, let's do it.
Aha.
Once the main frame is screwed together, Danny and Arit add shelving to the planter.
So you can see this is really simple to put together. Needs 2 of you, obviously, but it's going to be very effective. We're going to line this with a membrane so that we don't let all the soil fall out, let the water through, and then we've got all this vertical planting, so all this extra planting space in a small garden. It's perfect.
For sure. It's a beast. Right, I'm right behind you.
In the garden, the boys are planting crabapple trees, a perennial favourite with the wildlife that Karen and Duncan are so keen to attract to the garden.
So these are Malus winter golds. They're crab apple. Now, they're a good shape for this garden because they're multi-stem, which means they're not necessarily going to grow as tall. And there's 3 of them, and they're really going to help to create that rhythm throughout this space along with the hedging. Now, they're the main structural plants, so that's why they're coming in just after the hedging.
As well as being popular with birds and bees, the crabapple fruits can be eaten cooked and are often used to make jelly, pickles and tarts.
Oh, yeah.
On the other side of the garden, Arit's making good use of the fence space with her new planter.
Getting the herbs in. It's quite a satisfying job. A little bit fiddly because you've got to get the levels right. Making sure their little roots are in. Give it a good firm pat down.
It's time for the team to finish off the beds with planting and put down the bound gravel surface next to the house, while Arit wants to show off the bird cake she made earlier.
This moment of truth. Is it going to fall apart or is it not?
Well, let's see. I needed you here in case it did. Ready?
Oh, that sounded hollow. Has that come out?
Oh.
Part of it has. Look at that.
Et voila.
That looks fantastic. My goodness me, what is that?
It's gelatin, isn't it?
Fantastic. The birds are going to be, well, they're going to be here for this, aren't they? Nothing else now.
It's up to me.
You've got to outshine everything in the garden, Arit.
Party.
Right, let's find a space now.
All right, love. There you go.
Karen and Duncan had an uninspiring pocket-sized plot. But now it's a lush, wildlife-friendly space, packed with stylish planting and natural features.
Three, two, one, open your eyes.
Oh my God.
Yes! I told you, I'm crying.
Wow.
Oh, gosh. It's lovely.
Come here.
Honestly, it's wonderful.
Brilliant.
It's wonderful, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Those crabapple trees were a wonderful addition to that garden. And fruit trees are such a desirable thing to have. You can go for plum, you can go for peach, you can go for fig, maybe pear. What we've gone for here today is actually a plum, and it's a president plum. So it's not a large growing tree, about 3 to 4 metres, and it produces a wonderful blackish blue plum with a fleshy yellow centre. Great for cooking, but also great for picking off and eating straight off the tree.
Now, there's a few things to consider when choosing your fruit tree. One of them is the rootstock. Now, the rootstock determines the eventual size of the tree, so it's best to check you have the right one for your garden. Another thing to think about is whether your fruit tree is self-fertile. If it is, that's great, it produces fruit on its own, but if it isn't, then you need to surround it with other fruit trees.
Oh, that looks absolutely perfect, mate.
C'est marvelous. There we go, 1 plum planted.
And 2 to admire it. Now, our next favourite garden is one of Charlie's for Sue and Robert in Rotherham, and it was on a terrible slope. Luckily, Charlie had a plan.
Sue and Robert had a garden that was not only dull and uninteresting, it also sloped.
It's just one big square green patch. It's not the most inspiring garden to come out and enjoy.
Charlie's plan for a 2-tiered garden, coupled with a scented walkway, cleverly reworked the plot and got the thumbs up from Sue and Robert.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And I wanted this area here to be really attractive from your dining room so you can see out, and then you'll step down into the entertainment area.
Yeah.
Charlie's split-level patio solves the problem of the garden's awkward slope. But the team needs a level playing field before they can start laying the paving.
That's level, Paul.
With the main excavations done, Andy gets to work on laying the patio. And Charlie and the boys arrive to get stuck in.
My garden looks even bigger now.
Wow, doesn't it look huge? So nice having some level ground.
Charlie gets started on an archway that'll frame her scented walkway.
This is reinforcing steel. So it goes in concrete, so if you're laying a big slab of concrete and it just makes it stronger. But it's really handy in the garden. We actually bought a big sheet of it, £30, but what I love about it is you see it, but you don't see it. And it's great for climbers. And it sort of just adds that other dimension to the garden because it's a different material and it works really well with timber and oak. So that should look really nice.
Charlie.
Meanwhile, the brothers have a bench to build.
Look at that.
Wow.
Isn't that just a stunning bit of oak?
That is gorgeous. Love the grain on it. Look at that grain. I like that bit. That's my favourite bit there.
That's why there.
It's lovely because something like this only costs around £30, but straight away you get a really bespoke finish to the top of your bench.
No.
And we know that you've got metal with your arches, haven't you?
I have, and you're going to pick up on that, are you?
We were thinking of maybe having a little detail using some steel for the legs.
Oh, I'm excited to see how this is going to go.
Steve prepares the foundations for Charlie's steel arch.
So I want it to bend like that. So I presume if we cut these down a bit and then leave the pointy up bit, so it... If you could hold that for a minute, it's a bit like...
Well, if I hold one that way like that, then you could bend the other one over the other and make it stronger, couldn't you?
Yeah, but I'm sort of wanting to do that.
Oh, you're doing that, right?
Doing that.
Yeah.
Well, can I just get that in there like that? Like that? That's all right.
As Charlie and Steve grapple with the arch, out the front, the brothers have cut their bench top to length.
So we've got our cut down piece of oak here, just looking beautiful. And I've marked on where the legs are gonna sit. Got 6 of them, and I'm pre-drilling them with this wood bit. And I've actually added a little bit of tape because I don't want to go any further than that, so it helps me to know the depth of hole. And once these holes have been drilled, I'm gonna get the rebar that Dave's cutting, place them in, knock them in with a hammer, twist the bench, go and position it into the garden.
So we're using this rebar here as the legs to our bench. Rebar is basically a reinforced steel, so it's used to reinforce a lot of concrete construction. So this is 16 mil, the diameter of it, which is quite thick. You can get a lovely variation of sizes, but this is going to look quite nice. It's going to be really sturdy, and when it's in the top of the bench and then hammered into the ground, it's going to hold that bench absolutely solid.
David's steel legs fit perfectly into Harry's holes. So now the finished bench can be permanently set in a quiet corner of the garden.
Look at that, it's like hovering. Beautiful. It's really, really cool, isn't it?
The split-level patio is coming along nicely. And Lee's giving the finished water feature in the main seating area a good going over with the sander.
So the water feature is just a very simple one. It's literally a pool of water, no plants in it, a nice simple urn with water gently bubbling over the top and running down it, so that Sue can just put a treatment in, so it's not like a pond that she has to maintain, but it's nice to get the reflections of the sky in the water, and also it's sometimes quite nice just to sit on the bench and dabble your fingers in the water when it's a hot, sunny day.
The main permanent structures are now all in place. Time for some plant action.
Right, that's right in the middle of the rose bed, further back. No, back this way.
But it's not going well.
Where you had it, there. No!
Looks good there, though.
No, that's a rose bed. Yeah, maybe a bit further, literally. That's it. So it separates the rose bed from the lawn.
Nice, lovely.
And then that will come over.
If only you said that the first time.
As the boys take on the tree planting, Charlie's mapping out her most fragrant garden feature.
OK, so that's the start of the scented walkway, which will be lovely because it's lots and lots of aromas. This will be a nice, gentle amble through the garden. Now, I've mixed up the hedging plants. I've got lavender and rosemary because this side of the garden is the less formal side. So by breaking it up, having odd numbers around, it'll make it less formal. It's a nice, gentle walkway. Now, it might look narrow, but the whole idea is that you actually brush against the plants that will release the scent. And I've also dotted in 1 or 2 El Camillas, not scented, but they've got that lovely lime green frothy flowers, which will break up the sort of glaucous colour of the lavenders and rosemaries. So that's all ready to pop in.
With Charlie and the boys finishing off the planting, the rest of the team mop up the last-minute jobs. Paul tamps down the gravel path, which winds through the scented garden. And Charlie can finish the water feature.
I love this pot. And look at that colour. Ooh, it's gorgeous.
And with that, the garden is complete. Once sloped and uninviting, this garden is transformed into a lush, welcoming space for Sue and Robert to enjoy.
Do you want to open your eyes?
Oh, wow.
Oh, Charlie, it's
Wow.
amazing.
Yeah?
Oh, I can't get over it. It makes me want to be out here now and not in the house. Whereas before, it was always the other way around. We never came out here. And I think now we're never going to be in the house. I need to buy some nice warm blankets now so I can sit out here all year round. I'm blown away. I'm totally blown away.
Now, magnificent job by Charlie. Wonderful to see Sue's reaction and how great that she now finally has a garden she can actually use. But not all gardens revolve around the flowers and the plants. Some are reserved for partying.
Our final Rich Brothers' favourite top of the plots takes us to Leeds, where friends Neil and Jack wanted a space to entertain.
Hi mate, how's it going?
Yeah mate, good, thanks. You?
You had a good day?
Not bad, thank you. Making us a curry.
Oh, I was going to say, is it Thai or Indian?
Chicken makhani.
Excellent. So we'd love a garden with a seating area, eating area, maybe a fire pit, and just somewhere that's slightly secluded, so that we don't feel overlooked and that we can enjoy a nice evening with our friends.
Clean lines and one standout feature made the brothers' design an easy choice for the fun-loving pair.
Hello. Okay.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
We've given you quite a modern design. It's quite simple in layout, but it's something that breaks the garden up into different areas that have different uses. And then the main feature was this kind of bridge walkway. So we want to make this out of timber, so it's a contrasting material, and we want to raise it off the ground just a little bit, so it feels like it's hovering.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
That's a really good idea.
Before the Rich Brothers can add a wow factor to the party garden, the landscaping team arrive to clear the space.
So we've just been working out whether we've got enough paving slabs to have the deck hanging over the edge of the slabs, as David and Harry want, and the end result is yes, but only just. We can't break any. There are none left over.
The focal point of the garden will be a bridge linking the barbecue area at the front to a chill-out space at the back. And when the boys arrive, their first job is to lay a frame for the bridge that'll be sunk into the paving.
Well, there then.
Yeah, I reckon that's about right, isn't it? Right, something like that. Like that. Like that. Whoa. I think that would be fab.
Once in position, Joe and Rosie give the bridge support a coat of paint, and David gets stuck into making the bridge itself with a pile of Douglas fir planks.
The key to this bridge is in its simplicity, but when you're creating something to look simple, it usually means that it needs to be that little bit more complex because the joins and the fixings need to be hidden. Now, the way that we want this bridge to look is actually like this here. So we've actually got the timbers on their ends, so you see the thinner width, and then we've got these constant spacing between them. Now, the way in which we're going to get the spacing is actually by using these spacers. So these have been cut to size, and when we slip them in the gaps there and pinch them together, it's going to give that constant parallel line all the way down the length. But by sinking these to the bottom, they're not going to be seen.
To match the timber bridge, the team have made a bench, barbecue table, and slatted feature wall, which is positioned at the back of the garden with planting behind.
Here we go.
Well done, team. That'll be good. It's your rest on the walk fence now.
We've got it.
OK, well done, guys.
Beautiful.
And now that David's finally finished preparing the bridge timbers, the party garden's central feature can begin to take shape.
So we're ready to start constructing the bridge in the garden.
Well, I'll follow him then. Oh, is it going to fit? I think there's probably an easier route.
Absolute pros. Or for now, let's just lie it on there because it'll look cool, eh?
Which way up is up?
That way. So just, yeah, that's the
Like
badger.
that way?
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be trendy, isn't it? Yeah? Oh, mind your fingers.
With all the timbers in, David's threading steel rods through to hold the wood in place.
I'm glad I'm just the labour.
Yeah, keep going. As close to the fence as possible, is it?
Once the bridge is together and looking fantastic, it's left to one side.
Oh, that was easier than I thought, actually.
And an electrician installs a weatherproof junction box, which will power LED lights between its wooden slats. And the team move on to bringing in easy-to-care-for bamboo.
Hello.
Perfect. Now, bamboos are wonderful things, but you need to make sure you get the right one for the right place. But if you are worried about growing bamboos and you want to be really safe, then the one you want to go for, or the group you want to go for, are the clump-forming ones, like this one over here. This is known as Chinese fountain grass, and it's the ones that David and Harry really wanted in the garden because they've got a really beautiful habit of just coming up and arching over nice and gently, so it looks like fountain jets of foliage. So it's a Fargesia or a Fargesia, depends on how you want to say it, but Chinese fountain grass. Lovely.
For Neil and Jack, this garden is more about partying than plants. So Charlie knocks up a novelty beer cooler for them, complete with water mister. But will it work?
Now, David and Harry set me up with making a beer cooler that was a bit different. So Wayne's made me this lovely box. I have to say it's gorgeous and I'm going to plant it up. I'd go for something a bit different, a bit of drama, a bit of theatre, because I'm sure Neil and Jack would quite like that. So I've gone for what is called a mister or a fogger. So it's this little unit, which is low voltage, so it's got a transformer, and it sits in the water and it actually creates fog or mist. And the way it does it is these little ceramic discs vibrate so fast that they make the water molecules vaporise. So you get like a fog. And it's always a good idea to test pumps and features before you put all the cabling in. Now pop that in. Now, when you have it somewhere where it's not breezy, because it's quite breezy here, that mist will build up. So when it's inside the box, I'm hoping that the mist will build up and then tumble over into the cool box with all the beers, because then I think it's going to look real cool.
With everything else in place, the bridge can now be lowered carefully into position.
Ooh, lovely indeed.
And the once dreary garden is now a stylish party paradise.
So, 3, 2, 1, open your eyes.
Oh my God.
Wow, look at that.
That is amazing.
Thank you so much.
That is crazy.
And Neil and Jack finally have the low-maintenance social space they dreamed of.
It's just such an amazing transformation.
So happy with it.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
That bridge was really cool, especially with the lights. Bit of a fiddle, but really cool.
Yeah, it's quite a nice way just to connect two spaces.
And, I mean, for your favourites, good choice. And there was a couple of mine in there.
Oh, yeah, we're really happy with them all. But also, don't let it go to your head. We're still going to try and win those pitches.
Yeah, it was really nice reminiscing, looking back over those designs and just seeing all the different gardens we've created.
You sound like a granddad.
Help me up now.
Well, we do hope you enjoyed a look back at some of our favourite gardens.
So see you next time for some more Top of the Plots.